All right, folks, let's do this. As you can tell from the title, yeah, we got to talk about it. Sorry. This one is going to be about just how the whole coronavirus thing is affecting the marching arts, and it's affecting it in a very big way. And it's definitely something we need to chat about for a little bit. So, with that being said, good morning again. Daniel Valdez again. Pleasure and honor to talk to you, whether you're on the YouTube page, whether you're listening through Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or Spotify or any of those other wonderful podcast services you can get this silly little show on. Great to talk to you all again. Let's just jump right into it. A little bit to cover here. Let's start off with a little preface here. I am a moron. All right. And I say that with a great big smile on my face because I'm not here to give you any sort of health advice or any sort of opinion or anything like that. This is not the forum for that. Okay. All I'm here to do is just simply talk about how this is affecting the marching arts. That's pretty much it. First, like many rational people, I like to go to experts when dealing with something that I don't know anything about. So, if anything comes up, I'm going to pretty much preface it by saying, hey, this expert said this, and these scientists said this. That's pretty much it. Don't need to go any further than that. Let's just start talking about it. Cool. What have we learned so far? Daniel's a moron. Great. I've been told that very many times by very many people, and I'm used to it, so not a big deal. All right. How is this affecting the marching arts? Well, let's go over it. WGI. Big question mark right now. Some events have already been affected. More events may be affected. It's a big concern. One of the reasons is because it's at the end of the season. You got color guard championships coming up. You got percussion championships, wind championships coming up. So there are a lot of tough decisions to be made by WGI. There's a lot of tough decisions to be made by the individual units that would be going to world championships. We're going to get that into that in just a second. So already the power regional, the percussion and winds power regional out east was canceled. Local board of education made that determination, and I'm pretty sure they got some sort of directive from local health officials saying, "Hey, no, that ain't happening because we're scared to death," or whatever the reason may be. So that power regional is canceled. There are schools that are being affected that are dropping out. Avon is basically not allowed to go to school for a couple of weeks. So their power regional out in I think their Mid-East power regional, Avon, they're affected by it. They're not going to that. So they're basically doing, I think the only thing they're doing right now, they're doing state finals, and they're going to be doing WGI World Championships. It's a big deal. So hope everybody out in Avon is safe and you're staying sane while you're at home around your parents, and they're driving you nuts, and you're wondering why they haven't bought fish sticks in a week. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways, could some other events be canceled? Yeah, there's a possibility of that because, if districts come down and say, hey, well, we don't want a bunch of kids around our school and we don't know if they're affected or not, they have that right to say, hey, we don't want to put anybody at our school at risk. Local health organizations can mandate that, hey, big events, that ain't happening. There's a lot of stuff going on. And of course, like I said, the individual units have decisions to make of whether they want to send their kids out of state, especially if they're sending them to a state that has been deemed by health organizations as a state of concern or whatever you want to call it. TCGC contests, as of right now, are still going on. NTCA contests are still going on. That could change at any point. Just kind of depends on how things go. WGI World Championships. It's a big question mark. WGI has already said that they will make a, quote, final determination at the end of the week to figure out whether World Championships are going on or going to happen or not. Here's the thing. Governor of Ohio is asking for indoor events to feature just the performers or the players, and essential personnel only. So basically, no crowd. How do you determine that in WGI? How do you determine who's essential personnel and who's not? Do you just let the flow of marching people in? Do you determine what about are parents allowed in? Are grandparents allowed in? It's difficult it's a difficult thing to manage. So that's coming down from state level people saying, hey, we want indoor events, essential personnel only. The other thing that may affect this, the University of Dayton has issued a ton of travel restrictions about people going off on spring break and university trips that go off on spring break or going abroad or whatnot. There's a lot of stuff at the University of Dayton that just came down earlier this week, which could all affect WGI World Championships. There may be some units that get a little nervous and say, hey, you know what, maybe it's smart for us to not go. There's a lot of money involved in this. There was a lot of work and hours and hard work and determination and all that stuff that goes into putting these shows on. And the possibility of these shows not being able to be seen at WGI Championships because of what's going on in the world is concerning. It's concerning, and it's a bummer too. I feel for the performers that don't get to go out there and take care of their business, because we love. That's why we love this activity. We love great performances. So hopefully everything is able to go off without a hitch. But there is the possibility that WGI World Championships could be affected by this whole coronavirus thing. DCI. There's stuff going on DCI that is pretty concerning as well. And you're thinking, well, the season doesn't start till June. I'm sure everything will be fine. Well, here's the thing. So far, Madison Scouts, Santa Clara Vanguard, and the Troopers have canceled March camps. Why did they cancel March camps? Well, part of it is the location of the camps. Part of it is just the nature of the activity. Keep in mind. And this kind of goes with the same thing along the lines of what WGI is concerned about. You've got a significant amount of people coming from all across the country and the world, coming together, close quarters, close contact for an extended period of time. Not just, hey, I'm going to go to the grocery store and, pick up 20,000 rolls of toilet paper and then go home. Long exposure to different people all across the world and across the United States as well. These groups are being proactive. They're trying to do what they feel is necessary to protect their kids, to protect the staff. Again, these are not light decisions. These decisions are not lightly made, because you've got, if you cancel those camps, guess what? You're probably, if you're one of those organizations, you're probably going to have to issue refunds. You're probably going to have to give that money back to the kiddos or the kids and young adults that are participating in these camps. And plus, you lose a month of camp. That's crucial. Those crucial times. You can only do so much work individually. You can still send videos in. You can still, send audio recordings in and say, hey, I know my music. But there's something to be said about being around the ensemble, building that brotherhood or sisterhood, building those relationships face-to-face together, tightening the ensemble as best as you can before the season starts. And plus, we've all been in the band hall. We've all been in that band hall. We've all been in that room, whether you're in marching band or drum corps or winter guard, where you feel that energy, when everybody has the exact same goal in mind and everybody has just one thing on their mind. We want to get better. We want this rep to get better, be better than the last one, which was better than the last one. There's something to be said about that. You can't get that playing music and sending it through an MP3 file to, your caption heads or whatever. So that's already a big deal. Are more cancellations anticipated? Yeah, probably for the rest of the month. It just kind of depends on how each drum corps decides to handle things. And of course, DCI could probably be like, hey, no more March camps. You all are doing March camps. You figure out how to do the refunds. You figure out how to do everything else. But DCI could say that. Who knows? This is a very fluid situation. Here's the thing that could be even more concerning. Something else to chew on here. If this virus still continues, are April camps affected? Is that a possibility? Yeah, that's a possibility. If this thing doesn't slow down, April camps could be a possibility. So now you're losing 2 camps. So there's going to be a lot of catch-up to be made when groups decide, hey, okay, we feel that it's necessary for everybody to get together and do a brass camp or do a percussion camp or do whatever camp they need to do. This DCI season is going to be one of the weirdest seasons in recent memory, simply because you're dealing with groups that are already kind of behind the ball already. And I said already twice, I don't care. I mean, missing 2 camps, it doesn't matter how good your section is, missing 2 camps, that's significant. And they're going to have to play catch up, and there's going to be a lot of extra hard work that's going to be needed in order to make up for those camps. So it's going to be real interesting to see how things pan out once the season starts in June. And, there's talk about what do you do for the whole spring training thing when you finally get everybody together and we're all together until the middle of August or the beginning of August, whenever World Championships is. What do we do about that? Do we move it back? What do we do? And logistically, they got to figure that stuff out as well. They got to be like, hey, we got to call these schools. We got to call these schools and say, hey, or wherever our training campsite is, like, hey, we need to move this back. Or we need to move it forward or do whatever we need to do. Another thing that could affect all these color guard and brass and percussion camps, if their housing sites are closed. Remember, a lot of these groups are at housing sites that are like high schools or middle schools or wherever. If the district says, hey, we don't want anybody at school for 2 weeks, I don't care who you are, drum corps, what the heck is that? You're not allowed here. Now the drum corps has a big decision to make. Do you try to reschedule it somewhere else at a district or campus that is not closed? And keep in mind, if you do that and it has to go to another city or something, you got to get all those people that are going to the camps, you got to get them to reschedule flights. That's more money out of pocket. There's all sorts of logistical stuff that needs to be done if you're going to move a camp like that. And of course, if you cancel it because, the place you were supposed to have it at is closed, then you got to worry about issuing refunds or, how do you handle that? And of course, that's a situation that people smarter than me would be able to handle. And of course, it's going to happen. It could vary by organization, case to case. So that's what's going on. Yeah. Like I said, not a lot of opinion here, just kind of letting you know what's going on with this whole coronavirus thing and how it's affecting the marching arts. There's going to be some tough decisions to be made in the next couple of weeks with individual units, with WGI, DCI is, the drum corps are trying to figure out how to best handle this. And of course, everybody has the recommendations of washing hands and limiting exposure to large groups. And there's all sorts of recommendations that are coming down from the World Health Organization, the CDC, and all these people. So just be safe out there, keep working hard. I know that a lot of things are up in the air. I know that trips have been canceled. I know Bowie had the big Ireland trip. I was really looking forward to seeing how that went for them. That trip, unfortunately, was canceled. They said a lot of this stuff is being done by local health organizations and school districts. They just don't want to put their kids at risk, which, I understand. I get it. And it is a bummer when stuff gets canceled because that's a lot of money raised over a significant period of time, and then to realize right before you leave somewhere that, hey, you can't go. And there's all sorts of stuff about what do we do with refunds? What do we do with the money? Is it possible to get that money back? it just sucks, to say the least. So if you're affected by these trips, my heart's with you. I'm so sorry that, stuff panned out that way. Hopefully, everything gets sorted out soon and we can get back to, doing marching art stuff. So that's pretty much it. Just kind of like a little special report about what's going on with the marching activity and this whole virus crap. I'm done here. We'll talk to you next week. Hopefully, won't be announcing any more crazy cancellations or anything like that. But until then, I'm going to go take a nap, and then we'll watch a ton of college basketball today because I am off finally from work. Thank goodness. We'll talk to you next week. Oh, and by the way, keep sending your questions in. Keep sending your questions in because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just like read 1 or 2 of them per week at the end of the episode, and there'll be like a little question and answer sort of thing at the end of each episode. So I think that's what I'm going to do. But until then, I will talk to you soon. Take care. Adios. Bye-bye.